Yeah, just to jump into things here, I want to introduce myself again. Evie Vermeer, Wildfire Planning Specialist for the Regional Fire Safe Council. I started my work with Mason and Sarah and our team in March of this year, so I'm still getting up to date on a lot of our programs, but what I'm going to be mostly running is our community wild preparation plans. And so that'll be a lot of collaboration with community members, local agencies, and other resources to basically prepare communities for wildfire and identifying hazards, identifying priorities, and then also funding opportunities to mitigate risks and hazards to specific areas on a variety of levels. So that's the gist of what I'm doing thus far, and I'll kick it over to Mason, our programs manager, and then Sarah to give brief introductions as well.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mason. I see some familiar faces and some new faces, so good to see you or good to meet you. I'm here just to provide a little bit of updates on some of our other programs. Natasha says hi. She misses you all. Her sister's getting married this weekend, so she's having a good old time there. And we're just kind of stepping in to support and keep the momentum going. So yeah, I'll have a little bit of event updates and programmed updates for you, and just here to listen. There's some cool questions that Evie has on the agenda today, some networking questions. So I kind of want to be a fly on the wall and listen to what's going on. Sarah, did you want to say hi too?
Yeah, I'm just gonna be behind the scenes today, but hi everyone. I'll be moderating our chat. So if you have any questions, just drop them in there. And yeah, I'm gonna pass it over to Evie.
Sweet. Thanks, Sarah. So just going over a brief agenda and what we can expect for the next hour, 50 minutes or so. We've already gone through introductions, so we are right on time, but a few other things that we'll get to before the networking portion of the workshop will be some updates and program notes that'll come from Mason and I, general kind of goings on at the VRFSC. After that, we'll kind of leave you with a few open-ended questions that will allow you to kind of discuss with other folks in Firewise communities near you, some general development ideas, and then also potentially room for improvement. So we'll kind of follow this general structure. It is open and flexible, of course. So if we have discussion that takes us, over the 30-minute period or whatever, that's totally fine. This is open and flexible. We want you all to feel that way. So I'll kick it to Mason real quick to start off with some of the upcoming events that we've got at VRFSC, and then we'll hop into that.
So thanks, Evie. So we have been getting a lot of requests mainly actually from Firewise communities in all stages of development to do our like home hardening. And recently we've added Zone Zero as a topic, the workshops that maybe your community has received from Natasha or Max or even Myra before. So maybe that sounds familiar, maybe it doesn't. But in the past, we have, only worked with maybe 5 to 10 Firewise communities. So we have had the time to go out and give each Firewise community an individualized home hardening presentation. And that has changed. Firewise has become really, really popular. And now we are so blessed to be working, with upwards of 50 different communities. So we can't necessarily go to each community and give them a personalized or a just, in your rec room presentation. But we definitely want to get the same information out there and to get the workshop kind of like that in-person thing going. Because while virtual workshops are awesome, I think so much more information can be shared sometimes in person. So we have taken those requests and decided to take a regional approach. And so we have most of them. Well, what do we got? We got a couple of them scheduled and a couple venues still being worked out by the lovely Sarah. So we are going through mostly the month of June. You'll see an event up there for May to deliver those same workshops. And I'm actually sending out invitations today to our Firewise community. So with the flyer and what those are going to be all about. We've just kind of started securing these venues this week. So again, the topic will be home hardening in general. We'll be It'll be kind of that next layer. So now you're a Firewise community or you're interested in Firewise, you know what that program's about, but maybe you've gotten an assessment, but maybe there's some people in your neighborhood that haven't gotten assessments and they want to know what's what. But it doesn't make sense for everybody to do an individual assessment. So we're going to go over those main home hardening principles. And then importantly, a lot of people have been interested in what the heck is going on with zone 0. Does it apply to me? Which zone am I in? When do I need to start worrying about this, etc. So we're going to have lots of important information to answer those questions. And there will be a brief Q&A as usual at the end of those workshops. It'll just be an hour, so it's super easy. And hopefully folks can make it. The first one we have scheduled is for the Camarillo area. Say you live in Ventura and you're out of town June 5th. And you want to drive on down to Camarillo, you are more than welcome to. These are open to everybody, but it's in response to the requests we're getting. And so we just want to make it convenient. We're popping over to Camarillo, Ventura, Thousand Oaks, Newberry Park area, as well as Simi Valley Moore Park. And then we'll be doing one in Santa Paula for our Fillmore and Piroot folks. You know, it's hard to get the Santa Clarita River or the Santa Clara River Valley, but we're trying to just pop all around the county. And again, you can come to whichever one kind of works for you, but hopefully the close one works for you. I'm seeing a question in the chat. What's the difference between an assessment from Firewise and CAL FIRE? Great question. So we as a Fire Safe Council offer educational assessments. And so if you through your Firewise community want to get an assessment from us, it's going to be purely educational. And actually within Ventura County, it's Ventura County Fire Department that does assessments, and sometimes it'll be the same format as CAL FIRE, but in Ventura County we're a contract county. And so if you were to receive an assessment or an inspection from the fire department, that one is not educational, that one's enforceable. So what we offer, educational, we're going to go through some of those scientific principles with you, and it's all going to be voluntary, what you choose to adopt and what you don't. And if you get an inspection from the fire department, they're just going to be going over, this is what you're legally required to do, and depending on what zone you're in, you might be fined if you don't do XYZ thing. So hopefully that answers that question. And if you want, we can go into it a little bit deeper in the networking question or networking or Q&A session, but wanted to just jump in on that because it's definitely related to the workshops. And then next month, instead of a virtual workshop, like I said, in person can be a little more engaging some of the time, we are doing another version of our Food for Thought. Maybe you attended Food for Thought last year. This year it's going to be called Lunch and Learn. We're doing it at lunchtime, and it's going to be again the third Friday, but it's actually happening in person at the Ventura County Community Foundation community room. So that's centrally located in Camarillo. And just like last year, there will be a meal provided, free admission for you all. We are going to be seeing presentations from CAL FIRE, Ventura County Office of Emergency Services, and your very own Natasha, Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council. And we're really going to gear this year's event towards helping you make connections with nearby neighboring Firewise communities so that you can learn from each other and continue to build those relationships. I'm sure you all have been feeling how busy Natasha has been lately, and our other staff too at the Fire Safe Council. So we want to strengthen those relationships across communities and between communities, so you can rely on each other if we're not able to respond quickly enough. So that's going to be a really great event. Registration is required. The link to register is in the chat. Thank you, Sarah. So you can go ahead and register right away. If you're interested, again, free lunch, networking, and getting to ask questions of people that you'll probably be super interested to ask questions from. You know, if you have evacuation questions, those are great for our emergency services speakers. And if you have questions about pretty much anything, our CAL FIRE speaker is going to be a great resource as well. So that should be a great event, and we'd love to see you there. Register RSVP. I think the registration will close about a week or so before the event. So RSVP early. Oh, thank you, Gary, for adding you're so right. There are also city agencies. There's Fillmore and Ventura City Fire as well, not just Ventura County Fire. Okay, general updates. So first, I'm going to share with you a little bit about what we're doing with regards to fuels reduction. I think sometimes it's interesting for you to see what we do just outside of our Firewise programming, and it's a fun update. And then I'll give you a little update as well on that financial assistance program. It's basically just on pause. That's the update. So you go to I think it's on the next slide. Got some pictures. Okay, so just because, you know, we want to share with you what else we're doing. Over in Fillmore and Piru, we have begun some fuels reduction projects. Fuels reduction is, in this case, we're doing what's called wildland urban interface thinning. So sometimes you'll see a fuel break where everything is, you know, down to mineral soil. Sometimes you'll see just the vegetation thinned. Sometimes you'll see a, you know, a defensible space zone if we're within 100 feet of houses or structures. So in this case, in Fillmore, we're working on about 50 acres of thinning. So there's still going to be plants there, but all of that overgrown, you know, it's got laurel sumac, it's got coastal sage scrub, it's got mule fat, stuff that can be a little more flashy. It has like a higher lipid content, you know, can pose a real problem to firefighters. We're going to be thinning that out. And so that's starting within the end of the month. And it should be a great project. Similarly in Piru, it's just 5 acres over there. But something I thought might be interesting for all of you, the Piru Firewise community actually helped to identify, you know, this is a really important priority, and it aligned with Ventura County Fire Departments, what they wanted to see done. So we were able to identify that small area over there. And maybe that's something, you know, that is named in your 3-year action plan. And down the line, you know, if you keep if you keep squeaking the wheel, we can help to work on fuels reduction projects in your neighborhood. Again, it's important that it aligns with what the fire departments, you know, want to see, but that's a good intersection for Firewise and fuels reduction. I have a picture of our before and after in the next slide. This is just an example. This was a different area of Fillmore, but very nearby. And this was right across the street, just about 15 feet away from a big apartment complex right in the foothills of Fillmore. And so on the left is what it looked like, and they were not meeting those defensible space, you know, zone requirements. And so we were able to help and improve the defensible space in that area. And that might be what it looks like after. So you can see where it's closer, it's down to that mineral soil, but root structures are intact to prevent erosion. And then as it gets a little bit farther away, it's thinned. It's less than what it was before, but it's thinned, right? So it gives our firefighters a better chance of suppressing. So that's a little bit about our fuels project. And with regards to how many people have ever used our Firewise community financial assistance application before? A handful. Once you're recognized, something that we offer through funds from the Ventura County Community Foundation, when they're available, is financial and technical assistance. It's typically pretty small funds, but we have seen these funds kind of go a long way, especially when they're cost shared, right? Like, you know, maybe it covers half the cost of the vents and residents pay the other half. Or maybe it has covered signage before, right? So those funds are, we think, really important to keep steam going for our recognized communities. And, you know, once you're recognized, now what? We want to make sure that you can actually get things done in your action plan. So that pot of funding is specifically for things named in the 3-year action plan. And I just wanted to provide an update. It's not a very fun update, but we are still waiting on funds, but they're coming. So that program's on pause, but it's still going to be something we continue into the future. So just, I guess, keep waiting. And I think that's all I have for you. Is that right, Evie?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
thanks,
awesome.
Mason. That's great.
Yeah, thanks all for
Um,
listening.
Yeah, we have a few other kind of general updates for y'all as we go into what is broadly wildfire season across the Western United States. Quick reminder, May is Wildfire Awareness Month. We're halfway through that month already, but the reason that we just want to call this out, um, obviously, is just to note the increase in prevention and preparedness efforts that occur around this time of year as temperatures climb, moisture levels drop. Um, to that end, we have a few kind of factoids because everybody loves a factoid about fire. And I think these are kind of interesting pieces of context for you all to keep in mind and to maintain awareness. Um, Three quick facts. Human-caused wildfires in the United States account for almost 90% of fires that break out. That is just an important number to note that humans can control a decent bit sometimes of this behavior and the starts that we see. Next fact we have is wildfires can occur anywhere in the United States and at any time. That is something that we're seeing more and more with the effects of climate change and well, also people spreading into the WUI, human caused starts. But it's important to stay aware of wildfires, not just in May and beyond, but year round. And, folks in LA obviously are quite aware of that from January across the South, Northeast. We're seeing fires pop up in times that typically we didn't before. So maintaining vigilance and being prepared and ready is not just something you do in May through the end of fire season, as we thought of it. It's something that we should all be aware of year round now. Um, the annual number of wildfires in the United States is actually decreasing, which is great, but the number of burned areas is increasing. And that I think is just a helpful kind of bit of evidence that even with improved behaviors, we're seeing an increase in fire severity, fire spread, and extreme fire conditions. And that I think also emphasizes the importance of maintaining, defensible space year round, and also knowing that things are changing, the environment's changing, and the conditions in which fire thrives are also changing. So something to just be aware of. I liked those facts because I think they gave me new and different perspective on fire in the area, and just wanted to share those with you. To that end, Wildfire Preparedness Month means that it is time to, start thinking about fire season, like I mentioned. And this is the peak of fire season that we're entering now in Southern California. On our resources page, and there's a link there at the bottom that I think Sarah can drop in the chat as well. We have a wealth of invaluable resources, as it says right there. There's a lot of details on that page about local programs, ranging from VC Alert, which helps, get out notifications to your phone in emergency events. It also has details on the county's transportation emergency plan. Evacuation is a major topic around preparedness and safety. And then they also have, details on more national programs like the Ready, Set, Go program, which is, widely used for some of these emergency responses. There's also interactive maps like the new CAL FIRE fire hazard severity zones, which we've been getting a lot of questions about. And so there's a whole host of topics there that you can get into, whether it's hardening or defensible space to just being prepared for an evacuation, that we really encourage you all to take some time to go through, because those can give you new information and things that you didn't necessarily realize are quite important in the event that you are facing a wildfire incident. So we want to just make those available to you all. As we mentioned, they're quite valuable. We've obviously poured through them and found them of use to share with you. So if you have questions about them, please, feel free to reach out, spend some time going through them. We'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Some other resources that I just wanted to highlight, going into Wildfire Preparedness Month, are here. Sarah can also drop these in the chat for you all, but I just wanted to call them out each individually because I think they're important and also quite useful. CAL FIRE has numerous resources, too many to count, but really the wildfire preparedness page, I think, has the kind of greatest state level distillation of some of the information that you can use to both be prepared, but also to deal with a wildfire incident. There's also stuff on that page about recovery. So it really kind of tackles wildfire and response from pre-fire event to all the way after it. And I'd encourage you to take a look at that. The National Fire Protection Association has a home preparation page. NFPA does a lot of groundbreaking research, but also publications on how you can really prepare your home most effectively in the event of a wildfire. So we encourage you all to check out that page as well. The National Interagency Fire Center has a bunch of prevention and mitigation resources on their website. This is a federal website, so it's maybe not the smoothest or most user interface friendly. That said, there are dozens and dozens of links and resources all over the NIFC page that are both super useful for this prevention and mitigation resource perspective, but also when there are fire events, NIFC is really the government center for a lot of response and also information that you can receive across the country. And then the last thing to that end that I would really highlight for you all is the Watch Duty app that you can get on your phone. Most of you, or some of you, might be familiar with this. Watch Duty is a nonprofit app that was made by former firefighters and emergency responders. And the most useful feature of this app is that it sends notifications to your phone if there's any new wildfire incident or start in your county. You can also turn on notifications for other counties as well. I couldn't recommend this app enough, both for staying appraised of if there's anything new in your county, but also if there's current incidents. You can open up the incident and get the most recent incident brief from the information officer. You can get size, general map boundaries, and a bunch of other useful information that if there's a fire in your area, is just available at a touch on your phone. So Watch Duty is a great app, and we recommend that here for sure. That's it for resources. That's kind of the highlight of what we wanted to bring to you all as we go into Wildfire Preparedness Month. What we want to do now is kind of turn you to work with each other, and we want to be flies on the wall, like Mason said, for some of the discussion that you have. So we actually, I think, will avoid the breakout room format today, just because we have less than a dozen of us here on this call. So I think there should be enough space and time for everybody to speak and contribute. What we want to do is basically give folks the opportunity to discuss a couple of these questions that I'm going to put on the screen here in a moment, and learn from each other, as well as us learning from you. So I will bring up those questions now. Basically, the first question that we're going to ask y'all to reflect upon, you can take a moment before you answer, of course, is what's something that's been a sticking point or maybe a hurdle for y'all in achieving your community's FireWise goal? If you have already overcome a challenge or a hurdle, then we'd love to hear about that as well, how you overcame that challenge and what it was. The next question that we have that we can maybe circle back to after we go through sticking points is, what are areas and opportunities for us to be a greater resource to you all as FireWise communities? We want to take this opportunity to get feedback from you, and so we are just going to kind of open up the discussion now. We're going to tolerate uncomfortable silences. Take a moment to think if you want to, and whoever kind of has maybe first a point to a sticking point or hurdle for their FireWise community, we'd love to hear your thoughts, and we can kind of open up the forum from there.
This is Debbie, and I'm willing to, be first on this if that works. I don't.
Great.
Okay. So I represent the Woodlands. We're in Simi Valley. We became a recognized community this past January. And
participants?
Yeah, so we're excited. I'm the most excited, I think, because this was part of my initiative here. So I think a couple of sticking points is really, and we're working to address it, is getting homeowner participation. You know, we've got the sign up now as you enter the HOA. We've been posting on our Facebook group page. We have a newsletter we send out to homeowners. And, you know, every time we have a board meeting, you know, I spend like, you know, here's three top tips, and it might be as simple as make sure you rake all mulch away 5 feet away around your structure, trim your plants, and clean your rain gutters. I mean, we try to do Firewise tips. And then every now and then I get a homeowner that says, what is Firewise and what? And so that's kind of frustrating, but anyway, we're not going to be deterred. We have, through the last month's meeting that I attended, the Ventura County Fire Safe Council, Natasha, recommended blaze blockers. And he is he's a former hotshot firefighter. And he's going to be our presenter at the upcoming educational outreach for our association. So we're hoping that's going to be one way to address this. How do I get homeowner participation? We're going to try to do some raffles. We're going to have some snacks. We're going to have this guy speaking firsthand what it's like to be a firefighter on the front line, and make it as easy as we can. We're going to do some mailings, put flyers on everybody's front door, and try to do this as a real effort to get people up and involved in this, because it's not just me and my house, and we're trying to do simple things, but we're very close to each other here. And, you know, I didn't know what I didn't know. And now that I'm learning more things, I look around the neighborhood and there are just so much low-hanging fruit that everybody could and should be doing to either save our houses, but that's, you know, save your life, or maybe give you an extra couple minutes to get your animals out. And it's so important. And I'm a little frustrated with the apathy, but yet we're going to not give in and going to use more things like Ventura, these meetings, so that I can learn, so I can share with the community, and we can try to get more involvement. We've also had a little bit of an issue with the city of Simi Valley, quite frankly. The Ventura County Fire Department recommended that we remove pine trees that are close to structures. So we identified 33 HOA pine trees that are close to structures. And we had a tree trimmer all scheduled. The HOA was going to pay for it. It was an expensive endeavor, but we felt it was important to get these pine trees away from homes and structures in the community. And then the city of Simi Valley said, wait a minute, you have to have a permit, which we were surprised because they're HOA trees. So the permitting process is really very arduous, and we were hoping for more support from them. But we got our Firewise Fire Department representative involved, who was able to help us get through some of the hurdles. And then the last hurdle was that we had to do a bird nesting report and see how many of these 33 trees had bird nests in them, so we didn't disturb the birds, because it's peak nesting season. So I've learned a lot about birds. But, so we're going to start, we're going to invite some of our local Simi Valley permit people, and because they didn't really seem to be familiar with Firewise. So we're going to invite them to our upcoming educational outreach seminar and just spread the word. We really need support locally. I appreciate what you guys are doing. It's very helpful. Natasha is wonderful. And sometimes you can feel like you're walking up the down escalator. So you guys, please keep doing what you're doing. And sooner or later, there's going to be enough of momentum around these things that it will just become second nature. It's just so important. And I learn something every time I get on one of these calls, and we're just going to keep pushing it through our neighborhood and try to reach as many as we can.
Awesome. Thank you, Debbie. I've got two just notes from your kind of main points here, that homeowner participation and city permitting have both been hurdles for your Firewise community. What I'll offer up now is that if folks have ideas for Debbie, that maybe we holster them and come back near the end of this conversation with kind of like a bulleted list of maybe initiatives or ways to assist with those issues. What I would like to do, if folks have any, is kind of continue. Nancy, I'm seeing you wave your hand here. Let's get you and any hurdles that you've experienced. Keep working on our list.
Okay, so we are not an HOA in Ondolondo, which is in Ventura. And the sticking point was getting to know people, getting people's information. Through the 3 years, we have, or I guess 2 years, we have now have about a fourth of the parcels. We have 640 parcels, and about a fourth of those we have email addresses for. And we send out this pretty fabulous newsletter. People who have it and read it do compliment us on that. But without an HOA, it's person to person. It's people walking up the street and introducing yourselves and things like that. So Ben, can you talk about what we're doing now with groups of 20 homes?
Yeah, something that we think is working for us, and we hope it'll continue. We started having small group meetings where we take 20 people in a block kind of formation, and they meet and we talk about how we can essentially evacuate, get to know each other. So the next time there is a wildfire, we take care of each other. We make sure that everybody has been alerted. Everybody knows that it's time to evacuate, and so on and so forth. And one of the unexpected benefits was after the meeting, we got quite a few people to sign up to be on our email and our newsletter. So
and of the 20 homes, 17 said, yes, please put me on. What we're going to do is have a text or phone tree. And so I think that will be a good way to get people, because we had our first educational outreach and 50 people came, which was fabulous. So that's, some people. And then we had another outreach with the documentary Thomas Fire, and we had 165 people there, and that was great, but they weren't from our area. Yeah, they weren't from our Ondolondo area, which is fine. And so we introduced Firewise to those people. And now in Ventura, there are many more groups who want to be Firewise. But to get to our Ondolondo has been a sticking point. And so we're trying to overcome it now by having smaller groups of neighbors, so neighbors know each other.
And we're also thinking of having try a hybrid general meeting where we meet, but we also have it accessible on Zoom. We're going to give that a try. Now that might be a challenge for us. This is something that the Regional Fire Safe Council might be able to help us with. We're okay with the in-person meeting, but we are going to need some help getting it set up for Zoom, for example.
Awesome. Thank you both. That's really helpful info, and more discussion to be had for sure from there. I think that is perfect for you though, Debbie. Their ideas about, ways to engage kind of on a micro level within the community, I really liked. So I wrote down small group block level meetings as a potential way to clear one of those hurdles. So yeah, thank you. Anyone else have hurdles or discussion points to either Debbie or Nancy's, kind of hurdles that they discussed? Gary, if you're talking, you might be muted still.
I think that resonates with me. What Nancy was saying, the bigger something gets, the more people involved, the more haphazard things can get and less focused, and apathy sets in. So I'm wondering if trying to just reach out to, like, I envision my community, the way the polygon is set up, we have like fingers. I think about Ondulando as such a long, big stretch of homes. You know, you got Nob Hill or whatever. There's lots going on up there. I would envision seeing like each street having a street captain or street leader that they talk amongst themselves very, very periodically, and they trade notes a lot. And so then they go back to their smaller group of people on their street and kind of really can really hone in on the stuff that really matters to them. And then, you know, as they break out, go away and talk to other street captains or leaders or whatever. I think we find common themes, and I just see it just being a real synergistic way of operating. When a fire happens in our neighborhoods, that's actually essentially what happens. A strike team or two gets sent to a particular street, and the strike team leader is a liaison between the operations and the homeowners and finding out, you know, getting history and finding out what special needs are, you know, obstacles and things like that. And that's how they take big bite out of the elephant, or eat the elephant one little bite at a time. By so just kind of to help you envision breaking this big large group of people down to where you feel like maybe you don't have enough impact. Might just try to find those emerging leaders that are out there in pockets of the neighborhoods and see if we can't get them to kind of like help you. You know, you can delegate to them well in that manner. So
Thanks, Gary. That's awesome. Yeah, I love that idea of having kind of a you know, like a fragmented level of leadership that can kind of funnel down, I suppose, or funnel up, and help kind of streamline some communications and also initiatives that can really get disparate across large groups. You guys are absolutely right about that. So writing that one down for sure. Anyone else? Any topic at all? Yeah.
We have something more like for number 2.
Great.
We've been contacted by several different groups that are interested in becoming Firewise communities or in the process of becoming Firewise communities. And one of the things that we are asked frequently is, how do we get a website? How do we get a database? And so at our last board meeting, we were thinking, well, maybe we can clone our website and just make it available and possible also with the database. But I wonder if that might not be something that's more appropriate for the Regional Fire Safe Council to do. I mean, we're certainly working on it. And again, we're not the technical whizzes of the world, but so I just throw that out to be something that might be useful for the Regional Fire Safe Council, because every Firewise group needs those, and all are going to have different abilities to produce them.
Yeah, that's a great point. Website assistance is, yeah, in a word, something that we can definitely explore. I can't speak to Natasha's availability or capacity for that, or even her expertise, but that's something that I think would be awesome to help you all with. So we'll definitely note that. Thank you. And yeah, moving on, you know, if folks have, you know, other hurdles, feel free to circle back to them, but also any other opportunities where we can add capacity or help with y'all are open for discussion here. So yeah, Nancy, please.
So we are thinking about doing the text phone tree in case of an evacuation warning or evacuation. And it seems so 1950s, really, to have a list or even have, you know, a text. I mean, I know we can text a group text. We know that we can do that. Is there anything beyond that? out there in the world, has anybody have something that would make it really easy to do?
More effective.
And more effective? That's our question. And I haven't really found anything, but I just wanted to know what other people are doing. I know there's a One Firewise community in Camarillo Springs that does the phone tree, right? And so how did they set that up? I'd like to know, what are good ways to set that up?
Yeah, that's a great question, Nancy. I don't have too many specifics myself. I've been in similar response and incident groups that relied mostly on texting and messaging apps, just because you can disseminate information to everybody with just one click instead of having to go through phone calls. So off the top of my head, I think that would be a more efficient system if everybody's going to be on their phones. That said, that's something that we'll note, and I can definitely run it by our team to see if folks have experience with other messaging or kind of notification apps for incidents, because if we have other suggestions, we should definitely get them to y'all. So thank you.
The trouble with the text is that it's easy to send them out, but you don't get any feedback. And if what you're trying to do is make sure that all of your residents are aware of the evacuation warning, for example, you need to get some kind of feedback so you don't have to try to go knock on doors, et cetera. So that's kind of where we are with this.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. That's a great clarification. You need some affirmation or confirmation. Great. I just want to take a moment. Participation, totally optional. But Leslie, Annette, or Elizabeth, if y'all have anything, we'd love to hear from you if there's specifics that you'd like to chip in.
Yeah, I really appreciate joining this group. Just two things. I mean, I live across the street from Gary, so we're part of this Cal Heights group that's trying to form. And so I never knew about this meeting that's on the 29th, which would be an important piece for us to show up at and just let people know what we're doing. It's right in our neck of the woods. And maybe Gary knew this was happening, but it's kind of like, I'm not sure how we missed this, because it's really important to us and who organized it. So
it was just planned yesterday. So we just got the venue confirmation yesterday. So that's why I said I have to email all the Firewise communities today for the Camarillo one. So we cast a pretty wide net for all of those dates and all of those venues. And unfortunately, it just took a little bit longer than we wanted it to actually secure the venues. Just going through the application and permits and all that good stuff. But yeah, you're the first to know because it has just recently been confirmed.
Okay, and I assume there's a way that we could set up tables there. I know I'm committed; I can't be there, but hopefully other people who are involved can come and pitch their bill.
Yeah, we can probably discuss that. I don't know exactly what the tabling options at the venue are, but there will definitely be room. It just, if you wanted to set it, it might be better to hand out flyers but we can certainly see what tables are available at the venue and connect further on how to best get out your outreach materials and all that good stuff.
All right, it's just not much time for us to get all that together, but I'm glad it's happening, and it is an opportunity for us. But I also wanted to tag on to the thought about the Firewise Council really having some way of like a resource, like when people Gary's been working on an Excel, PowerPoint for our first presentation, then we do the community, and there must be other people that have done something very similar. And if there was a template, that you could start with, it'd be just so much easier. It's like any kind of resources that could be part of the website that people could refer to. And you might say that, we don't condone this, but this is what other people are doing or have done. And so people have an option of seeing what other people have done and using it or not using it or amending it. It's just, it'd be helpful to have more other people's experience and what they've created, if they're willing to share that, to be able to access it.
Just as a
Thank you,
quick
Liz.
follow, but sorry,
Go ahead,
Evie, I
Anthony.
just,
Nope.
was that with regard to the action plan you said, or the website? I feel like I missed, what example, an example
Well,
of
no, we're
Outreach.
outreach.
outreach. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so any Firewise presentation materials that we may have, we can do some digging and looking for that stuff that y'all can share amongst your community, especially in that startup phase that you're in. That I think that'd be great. So yeah, let us circle back with those. And I also got Elizabeth just a note about some outreach and connection ahead of that Camarillo workshop for you all. So
Thank you.
I've got yours and Gary's name here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both for your thoughts. Appreciate the contribution.
Thank you.
Leslie or Annette, I don't mean to call you out, but if you do have any points, we'd love to hear from you. No pressure though.
I'm Annette, and I'm here with Ben and Nancy. I'm new with them. So I'm just supporting them today here. The one thought I would add is there has been some talk about needing assistance finding a young person who could, or someone skilled because they're young, for social media. So we don't have a social media presence except for, you can correct me, Nancy, if I'm wrong, and Ben, but there was some talk that we would like to have help there. Giving us resources, pointing us in the direction, someone who could help us do it. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
That could have been one of our sticking points. We've been
Yeah, it's a
trying-
sticking point.
trying to get someone to help us with social media. And I think a lot of Firewise communities seem to be governed by people who are retired because we have the time and we're willing to do it. But we have a lack of younger people to help us with sort of new things like social media. And so that could be something that the Fire Safe Council could help us with.
Yeah,
I'm going to reach out. I'm going to stick my neck out here a little bit. I'm going to reach out to Emily Ayala, RPIO of the city of Ventura. You know, that being that is her space. She would certainly have a vested interest in helping the community that, you know, that she serves with so much heart. And she's in that age group where she's kind of in between, you know. I don't know what to call her, Gen X's and millenniums and all that stuff, but she's probably perfect, or will know somebody that's perfect and might have some time to offer our efforts. So I'm going to have that discussion with her.
Yeah, definitely worthy of outreach, Gary. I know some agencies and even some fire safe councils have like social media templates that you can, you know, kind of like cache in a folder on your computer and then use those for disbursement. That's another thing that I've noted here, and if we're able to follow up with y'all on that, we absolutely will. So thank you. Those are two presentation and social media materials are two things that are great to surface here. So. Thank you. Leslie, wanted
I'm
to.
here.
Yes, I heard you
I'm
briefly.
here. I just wanted to let you know I'm not part of the Firewise community because it really doesn't fit where I am, unfortunately. I'm across from a school and I've got open space behind me. So I'm in a very high risk fire area. So I'm really into all of this that's going on, but I'm in an area as well that has a lot of rental housing. So there's revolving peoples, many of which don't speak English. So it's very difficult in this particular area. But there is a couple of things I do want to say. I have used the grant to do zone 0 clearance, both at the front and the back of my house. So there's rocks and it looks good, both front and back. And I've used blaze blockers to do the vent screening around the house. So that's all done too. I used them probably a couple of weeks ago. They're really good. The guy is really super. So highly recommend them. The next job I'm going to do is replacing my wood fences. I've got 3 attached to the house. I'm going to be replacing them with aluminum fencing within the next month. So I'm working on it slowly in, my own house. But there's not much I can do for like the next door house that's a rental has like indoor outdoor carpeting over all of their property and weeds growing up throughout, and they don't speak any English, and I don't know who the owner is. So that makes it very difficult in getting anything going together, with somebody else. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, thanks, Leslie. Appreciate the contributions, and it sounds like you're doing some awesome work on your own property, which is definitely valuable. So thanks for coming and contributing.
Yep.
So we have 5 minutes left. I know, Mark, we actually had you join a little later, I think, or maybe you dropped out and came back.
I apologize. I was actually down talking to the local principal to try to get the auditorium for use for future meetings. So sorry for late.
No worries at all. We've got, these 2 questions up here on the slides. If you can see it on my screen. If either of those questions kind of have any, or spark any thoughts from you, we'd love to hear from you. No pressure though. And, we're kind of up in the next few minutes here. So
the one sticking point we kind of had was just tech support. And maybe this was already talked about, to get the website up and running. So I kind of did a crash course in how to make a Google site. So we've got that going now. It's just getting over that hump to get recognized by Firewise. To get the thing going. I see Gary there. He's probably expressed this stuff. Sorry, my camera is not working for some stupid reason too, so I apologize for that.
No problem. No worries at all. That's helpful to hear from another source. Website design and implementation being kind of an overarching issue that we're hearing from folks here. So
Well, I've been working as a teacher, and I found that Google Sites is very similar to Google Classroom. So I've got it going. And I'm working on it, but a little bit of a steep learning curve there.
Okay. Yeah. So Google Sites, that's a potential resource to investigate. Great. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you joining. Anyone else? Nancy, is that a hand raise or a wave goodbye?
Oh, I just wanted to say 2 things for Elizabeth and Gary, and I think Mark, who are starting their first educational outreach. Ask at the end, explain what your teams will be, and ask people to volunteer. It's a great way to get people are interested, they're excited about it, and just sign up and see if you can get as many signups as you can. So we divided it into emergency response team, wildfire preparation team, social media, which we didn't get anyone for, communications, and there was one called in a welcome team, and also a water assurance team. And those people who signed up just did a fabulous job, and they worked so well with Ventura Water. And so that's working out. The emergency response team, people that are taking CERT lessons or CERT certification. And so I just think that ask for teams. And so that's part of the educational outreach. I think that will be an excellent thing to do. And then in a small thing, have a really good sign-in sheet that's easy to read and have many different groups of them. So 12 people at a time can fill out the information. So
lots of clipboards.
Anyway, yeah. So little, but does make the educational outreach worthwhile.
Thank you, Nancy. That is super helpful. And thank you all for coming to this discussion today with open minds. Your networking hats on and collaborating with us. So we really appreciate your time and effort and being a part of these monthly conversations we're having. We hope to see you at one of our upcoming events that Mason highlighted. If you have any questions about them, please feel free to reach out at our info@venturafiresafe.org line. Anything else, you can reach me as well. My email is on the website. So once again, we just appreciate all of your times today, and hope you have a good rest of your Friday.
Yeah,
Thank
you'll
you.
be receiving flyers for the, at least if you're a Camarillo Firewise community, you'll be receiving the flyer for the May 29th event today. If you're a later one, it might come to you a little bit more next week, and then we'll also be doing an email list announcement for all of the events that we do have booked early next week. So you should be receiving those outreach materials and more information on the event very, very soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.